You know, happy July 4th. If you're seeing this video, it's because it's July 4th. And today is about independence. Well, for white Americans, it's about independence. For everybody else, it's just, well, just another holiday. You know, everybody's probably flying their flag, the stars and stripes, old glory. You know, they're saying, God bless America. And maybe there's fireworks going off. Who knows? In a lot of places nowadays, fireworks are illegal, and for good reasons. A lot of people, well, take the day to spend a lot of money to blow holes on the planet. The planet is already being fracked enough. You don't need to put any more holes in the planet. But I digress. You know, it's a monumental day, and it should be celebrated. Independence from, well, the British monarchy. You know, nobody ever really says things the way they, well, should be said. Nobody ever says, well, the Americans, they fought a war to break free of the monarchy, the crown, the British monarchy. Basically, white people fought other white people to start a collar settlement so they could, well, not have to be under the monarchy's rule. And the monarchy was heavily influenced by, well, the Church of England, which was very tyrannical in nature. I mean, they had some very, very strict rules, and if you didn't abide by their rules, well, it was off with your head. It was take them to the guillotine. Take her to the guillotine. Take them to the stake. Burn them at the stake. You know, it was very cruel and inhumane. And, well, people celebrate that they no longer have to be under that doctrine. But then there's people that, well, want to take us back to that doctrine. Don't really believe in, well, democracy and sovereignty. They give lip service to it, but, well, it's not what they actually believe. Because, well, they want something for themselves that they can't, well, desire or want for someone else. And the old trick is, kids, if you ever want something for yourself that's beneficial, but you don't want that same thing for someone else, you really don't want it for yourself. But, well, you're having to trick yourself into believing that you do. Because, well, it makes you feel better if you say you do, but you don't. You know, we all know people like that. I won't mention any names. But anyway, July 4th, it's a day of celebration. And, you know, recently there was an op-ed written by, well, a great famous singer. And, well, I think she still sings, Macy Gray. And her op-ed was all about, well, the flag, the American flag. And, well, saying that it's time to replace it. It's tattered. It's incorrect. And it's divisive. And we need a new flag. Now, you know, a lot of people took Macy Gray to task, including a lot of conservatives who said she doesn't know what she's talking about. There's nothing wrong with the American flag. Well, it has 50 stars, but, well, it doesn't have the star for Washington, D.C. And we all know that no taxation without representation was one of the main talking points, the elevator pitch for why the whole United States of America was, well, colonized, settled upon. And, well, D.C. has no representation, but they certainly do have taxation. And, you know, you can't say no taxation without representation and then not include Washington, D.C. So it's time that you give Washington, D.C. statehood. And then we'll deal with Puerto Rico, which also should get statehood too. But, well, they're two separate different beasts here. One, Washington, D.C., well, it has, well, a population that, well, pays income tax, pays federal tax to the United States, the mainland territory. Puerto Rico, they get taxed, but, well, they don't pay a whole lot to the mainland territory. Certainly not as much as Washington, D.C. And Washington, D.C. has more residents living in that district than, well, a lot of other states, such as Wyoming. And, well, even South Dakota and North Dakota. You know, all these things have to be said because, well, there's a great level of unfairness. You know, Washington, D.C. might have been a state a long time ago if, well, the general population hadn't have been so predominantly one way and not the way that, well, a lot of people want it to be. We'll leave it at that. Washington, D.C. has a lot of, well, reasons why it's not a state. But one of the main ones is because, well, the majority of the residents who live there happen to be people of color. You know, 4th of July, Macy Gray. I don't know what I think about the flag, whether it should be replaced or not. But there should be a conversation about adding more stars. And there should be a conversation about, well, the colors too. What does that mean? You know, she said she's fine with keeping the red and the blue, but the white, you know, something about that strikes her the wrong way. And that's a credible debate because colors stand for something. Symbolism, stars, they stand for something. You know, oftentimes when I see all of these flags of different nations with things that, well, are weapons, I wonder, well, it shows me right there what type of society or country it is. If your flag has wars or guns or any kind of other violent symbol, it shows me that, well, you're cruel. You're cruel to your people. You believe in heavy-handedness of justice. You believe in being the warrior. And, well, there's always a time for everything. And now is not the time for war. It's not the time for, well, this divisiveness. It's a time for unity. Because, as they say, a house divided can't stand. In America, she said, well, the flag is very divisive. That kind of point is true. You know, I see all of these, well, I've heard stories of all of these pickup trucks with American flags on them. And you know, I'm fine with that. If you live in America, you ought to be able to fly the flag that's, well, your nation. So you can't blame people for flying the flag or putting the flag on their vehicle. But my issue is this. Why now? Before, the same people that had all of these American flags up were flying a flag of an individual, a lunatic, by the name of Donald Trump. Now they've run back to the American flag. They're saying we're Americans. But, well, were you American on January 6th when you stormed the Capitol? Because most of those people now, you know, most of them went back home. They didn't get arrested. Of the thousands and thousands and thousands of people who stormed the Capitol that day, only 500 have been arrested. And they, well, just today announced a select committee to investigate it. It's been 6 months. So that shows you how much, well, urgency there is to really do well, anything about the culprits in that situation. But yeah, now everybody's, well, they're back to being American. The only problem with that is, well, everybody's not on the same accord anymore. You know, you can't pick and choose when you want to be patriotic and when you want to be American. You can't say it's okay for people who are leaders to discriminate against certain Americans when they're in charge and in power. But then, well, when you're out of power and people start being critical of those individuals and what happened to people in marginalized communities, now you just want to be American again. You don't get to pick and choose like that. It doesn't work that way. So there's a lot of divisiveness in, well, people assuming that if you have the flag, that you're a hypocrite. That you only fly the flag when it's beneficial to you and not to anyone else. And, well, there's this whole notion of who really is an American. You know, if you're an immigrant and you just come over here and you just get nationalized, like so many people on July 4th do. If you've never been to a nationalization ceremony, July 4th is the perfect day to go. I've actually attended a couple, and they were remarkable. You see people from all over the world take the oath to become citizens of the United States of America. Now, personally speaking, I don't know why you would want to. I mean, I get all of the talking points as to why you would, but the reality is when you get over here, it's not all that it's built up to be. But anyway, I digress. You know, they're Americans, but there's this whole level of how American people are, how long they've been here. Were your parents born here? All of those things. Well, that makes you a real American, as opposed to, well, just, well, calling yourself an American, but not really being recognized as an American by the citizenry or a lot of people where you actually abide by. You know, all of these things are relevant. Happy July 4th. I hope you enjoy it. I'm not in the country when you see this. Hopefully, I hope that you'll have a safe and happy July 4th. I hope it will be a time for celebration and reflection and, well, looking forward to the future. But, well, when you do see this, happy July 4th, Americans. You know, they're saying, everybody is saying, it might be over. It might be ending for the Americans. You know, Babylon might be teetering on the brink of, well, extinction. And America is seen as, well, it's better days. And it's only going to go downhill from here. That's what they're saying about America. Everybody's, well, opining on the street about that. And, well, you know me, I'm always more cautious, more, well, more observant of things. And, well, that might be the buzz on the street, the word on the street, that America is, well, plunging, not going to make it. But, you know, I never doubt or count out the Americans. They're very ingenious about, well, survival. And, well, I think the empire will be around in one way, shape, or form. And, you know, only time will tell. But, well, it's your day. You should enjoy it. Not being affiliated with a crown or a king or a church, you know, that is freeing to a certain extent. But then you got to be careful about the people that you, well, you listen to. Because if you're not careful, they'll have you right back under the same system. And you won't even have recognized it. Happy July 4th.